Hi guys, and welcome to episode 6. We are talking about neurodiversity and alexithymia. Now alexithymia for me and quite a few other professionals who I've spoken to seems to be a bit of a newer term that's kind of coming around, and effectively it's referring to what we might know as emotional blindness. So alexithymia or emotional blindness is generally the case of when you can't recognise your own emotions, but also maybe not be able to articulate them so well, and potentially impact your ability to read other people's emotional cues as well. It's not its own standalone diagnosis from my understanding, and actually it's something which we often see is attached to either neurodivergence, trauma, or potentially other physical or genetic conditions. How does alexithymia or emotional blindness typically come into play when we're talking about neurodivergence? So one of the things we actually see a lot of is our clients who maybe have autism, ADHD. They're particularly struggling with things around recognising their own emotions and articulating those. So for us, this actually comes back down to more of a sensory level need, and it's about trying to improve someone's interoceptive sensory processing skills and their interoceptive sensory awareness. Now, some people will argue that you cannot actually improve or teach those skills. However, we have had some really good success working with people to build on and develop some of those interoceptive awareness skills, and starting to build on actually from there, improving emotional literacy and a sense of feeling more grounded in recognising how we are feeling. Now that's saying, how are we feeling? That's a huge part of this. One of the things we actually we advocate for, one of our theories that we work with is around when we think of sensory processing, our emotions start at physical feelings. An example might be when we compare, say, emotions like excited versus nervous. And there's a really good video which you can look at by a public speaker called Simon Sinek, where he does actually explore that a little bit as well. And the thing with recognising how you physically feel is a really good step to breaking down what emotions are. Emotions are typically almost like a shortcut. They are a way of expressing how we're physically feeling in less words, and allow us to relate it to not only what we're feeling inside, but also relate it to the environment or the situation around us, and the things that are actually going on at the time. So what can we actually really do? And it's about how we work with someone to break it down, to maybe map out what are they feeling, factoring in then those emotional as those environmental factors and the situation that they were in, and trying to piece it together bit by bit from there, and then improving on the emotional literacy itself after we have worked on the interoceptive sensory skill and that self-awareness. And one of the other things to consider with emotional blindness is trauma. Trauma is quite often a factor that we see, and this trauma factor can often have a bearing on why someone is maybe experiencing the emotional blindness that they particularly experience, and it's something which we can particularly relate to with them and try and work through, empathising and understanding maybe the trauma and building up from there to develop those sensory interoceptive skills. But it's really important to factor in all those things and make sure you're seeking the right support and help from the right services. So this is where you might need to look at accessing support from mental health professionals such as counsellors, therapists, and building on your skills to deal with trauma, to feel grounded, to feel secure, to feel stable, and also maybe working with specialist OTs around your sensory processing as well. If you have any questions, please comment in the comments box below, get in touch, and it'd be great to hear what you have to say. Thank you guys.